The Mahler 1 bass solo third movement seems to be one of the most trickiest passages of all time. And this is another excerpt that's asked on pretty much all orchestra audition rep lists for double bass. Now in this video, I am going to discuss some tips and tricks to playing this solo. And I'm going to talk about why this particular solo causes so many problems for double bassists. Now before I get into this, I am not a full-time orchestra musician. What this video is a discussion only, not me telling you what to do, and what I'm saying is not definitive. That being said, here are my thoughts on the Mahler 1 third movement double bass solo. So when you hear this solo, you know, to me personally, I don't know about you, but this solo sounds like an outcast singer singing some kind of one-liner. Like, it's very, very simple. So let me sing it for you. The sound in my head, which is da dee da dee do, da dee da dee do, da dee do, da dee da dee do. You know, and the idea for me personally, my philosophy is to play what you sing. Therefore, I would just copy that. You know, so simple, right? There's a lot of discussion as to like how much vibrato you should use, or what kind of fingering, or the pressure in the bow, and all of this stuff. And I hear nobody talking about the singing portion of the solo, which is what it really is, in my personal opinion. I mean, does it really have to be that complex? And I'm not trying to talk down on any other kind of teachings that are going on out there. It's just from my perspective, from my observation, from what I see, and what has worked for me is that being able to sing what you're going to play first really helps determine how you're going to play it, and not having to worry about calculating the vibrato at the nth degree to the EMC2 squared, right? That's a little exaggeration there, but it really shouldn't be that simple. You know, and all I'm doing there is just playing what I'm singing. And all I'm singing is what I hear in my head. So the first thing you must do is imagine the sound first. Then what helps is singing the sound in your head, then emulating that sound with your bass. That's really the whole idea of playing an instrument, if you ask me. What do you think? That really just takes care of everything. So. And when you play something like that, even a simple excerpt like Mahler 1 third movement, you can't really touch that because it comes from something human, something that was created from the mind and communicated from the mind. And it's like you're expressing something from within, which really that's the whole idea of music. So when someone comes into an audition room and plays the excerpt with no idea of how it's supposed to sound like, but they know all the technical details, maybe it'll sound something like this. Right? What they're doing is they're doing the vibrato that they calculated in the practice room, and then they're doing the pivot up, and then fourth finger, and then down, 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 and then vibrato again. And it really doesn't sound like anything musical. But when you play what you hear in your head, that feeling that you came up with, it sounds more like this. And I can spend all day saying, oh, well, what I'm doing is I'm doing an inflection here, and I'm doing another inflection here when I'm shifting up, and when I'm shifting, I'm calculating the distance between that. I could talk about that for hours and hours and hours, but still, we wouldn't be making music now, would we? Now, technical details are very, very important. If you can't play bass but you can sing, the problem is that you must be able to play the bass first. You can be a great singer, but you must be able to play the bass. However, that being said, if you do not have that sound in your head, if you haven't made up your mind as to how this excerpt is supposed to sound like, if you haven't done research on the composer, if you haven't done research on the symphony itself, then I don't see what the point is. I mean, it just won't sound like music. It will just sound like a copy of something or some kind of technical presentation. We don't want that as bass players. We already have a lot of flack from the community of sounding like technical, fingering junkies. Like, when you hear bass players look, hate me all you want, but a good bass player typically means someone who can do thumb position, down here. Right? That's good bass playing. But when it comes to musicality, when it comes to expressiveness, when it comes to the actual music making, that lacks. That lacks. So those are my thoughts and some more regarding the Mahler 1 third movement double bass solo. Now again, as I say, I am not a full-time orchestral musician. I am not a high-ranking teacher of some sort. I'm just some guy who plays and writes his own music. So take my advice as another perspective. Listen to all the other bass players, of course. They have very good things to say and things that are much different than what I have to present. So, I just have to say that. As always, visit my website, www.xavierfoley.com. If you're looking for new bass music, like one of my tunes called Irish Fantasy. And so if you're interested in that, go to my website. Also, if you're interested in carbon fiber bows, you will find those on the website as well. I think that's it. Take care and happy practicing.